Dr. O, thank you very much for joining us here on NewsX World. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. We now move over to North America, and Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum condemned violence during protests in Mexico City on Saturday. Thousands marched under the banner of Generation Z, denouncing rising crime after the public killing of an anti-crime mayor earlier this month. In the capital, a small group of hooded protesters tore down fences around the National Palace. Riot police responded with tear gas, and clashes injured 100 officers, including 40 needing hospital treatment. Sheinbaum urged peaceful demonstrations, saying violence is never the way to achieve change. The Public Safety Secretary echoed her concern about the injuries to the police. The group Generation Z Mexico says it is non-partisan, representing youth frustrated with violence, corruption and abuse of power. However, the government questioned how many young people actually participated, claiming political opponents and social media bots largely promoted the marches. Joining us now is Emilio.
Hay que fortalecer la estrategia, pero no es este llamado que hacen. Bueno, hay quien llamó a que todo mexicano tuviera un arma. No, eso no estamos de acuerdo. No estamos de acuerdo. No lleva a nada. La violencia no lleva a nada. Por eso hoy que hubo una manifestación ahí en la Ciudad de México, donde dicen que marcharon jóvenes, pero en realidad había muy pocos jóvenes, y que de manera violenta quitaron unas vallas y rompieron vidrios, decimos no a la violencia. Si uno no está de acuerdo, hay que manifestarse de manera pacífica. Nunca hay que utilizar la violencia para cambiar, siempre por la vía pacífica.
We're now joined by Emilio Reynoso. He's a DW journalist from Mexico City. Thank you very much for joining us here on NewsX World, Emilio. Pleasure to have you. President Sheinbaum, of course, we heard her statement. She just condemned the violence that occurred, that injured over 120 people in Mexico. Does this unrest expose a deeper public frustration with Mexico's security crisis?
Hey, Thomas. Indeed, we have to recall that President Sheinbaum's party, Morena, have this now historical policy of denying responsibility and blaming past administrations. In this same press conference, Mario Delgado, the Secretary of Education, minimized the Gen Z movement, saying that they are bots only, and blaming their detractors spending too much money to make them look them bad. So, but let's recall the ex-president Andrés Manuel López Obrador, founder of the Morena party. The security policy was abrazos no balazos, meaning hugs and not bullets, regarding to members of the organized crime. We must recall also that these police forces arrested Ovidio Guzman, son of El Chapo Guzman, heir of the cartel of the Sinaloa, and let him go. And in small cities, cartel members used to attack police patrols on a daily basis. And the President AMLO said that we cannot attack them back because they are human too. But then you see these levels of violence used against manifestations like the Gen Z. Last year in Zacatecas, Mexico, the 8M protest, the Women's Day protest was subdued with amounts of violence never seen before. So we have seen terrible videos about yesterday's march in both sides, civilians getting injured, as well as police officers. There are videos of a man holding a Mexican flag, not attacking anyone, and then is taken down and he disappears in a sea of police officers. There's another man who tumbled down and was defenseless on the ground and was kicked on the head by 3 police officers. Also, this bloc, the black bloc, the ones that were supposedly generating the violence, took a lot of police officers and hit them. So this is something that we cannot say who started what.
Yes.
In this point.
Yes, Emilio Reynoso, thank you very much for taking the time and joining us here on NewsX World. It's a pleasure to have you and get your insight on that ongoing situation in Mexico. We now move over to Ecuador next, and the public began their voting on whether to allow foreign military bases and draft a new constitution that could expand the powers of the Trump-friendly president. National Electoral Council President Diana Anatimate opened the polls, saying the day reaffirms that democracy is exercised, honoured and defended by voting. Nearly 14 million voters will decide on 4 key questions addressing rampant drug violence and economic reforms. Polls are scheduled to close at 5 p.m. local time or 10 GMT. Ecuador's President Daniel Noboa has announced the capture of the country's most wanted gang leader just as voters began casting ballots on security measures. Noboa has identified the suspect as Pipo Chavarria, the top leader of Los Lobos, calling him the region's most wanted criminal. Let's take a listen in.
Esta mañana también hemos capturado al objetivo de más alto valor que había en la lista de los criminales que tanto nos hacen daño y que hacen daño en toda la región, que es Pipo, líder máximo de los Lobos. Esto ha sido gracias a la cooperación internacional con España, con Estados Unidos. Hemos hecho una operación.
The president has said Che Guevara had faked his death, assumed a new identity and was hiding in Europe. Noboa has thanked the joint efforts of Ecuadorian and Spanish police for the successful operation. Details on the exact location of the capture were not disclosed, however.